Don't let either things master you. Master yourself. That's the hardest thing in the world to master, is yourself. But if you can master yourself, you can master anything. And haven't you noticed that the most significant things to us in life are the things that we can't touch, taste, smell, hear? But you notice I'm leaving the word feel out of it, because our idea of feeling is so connected to our physicality, because you've neglected half of your nature. You forget about the spiritual nature you have also. Whether you're religious or not, there's something that's deeper going on inside you that's not just physical. There's something mind there, there's something psyche there, there's something in danger of being fired by the school district, I'll say, something spiritual. There's something else to you. And I promise you that there are greater things on heaven and earth than you dream of in your philosophies. I think I have a few of you on Instagram. If you scroll down, you'll see I have this on my Instagram. It's one of the things on I'm looking at a waterfall. I'm sitting in front of the Three Sisters waterfall, and I have this in there. Yeah. It might be a different one I have on there, but I do have it. I have it on there. Anyway, he says he's a person who thinks like this dichotomy between thinking and feeling, this separation between intellect and passion isn't there. Oftentimes we think about life as you have to think about this, you have to feel this, or we'll say things like, you have to think with your head, not with your heart. But the very process of thinking itself has to include the heart. And the very process of feeling something is going to oftentimes mean having to think about it as well. When you separate yourself out like that, you're tearing yourself in half. Should you be a thinking person or should you be a feeling person? Of course, hopefully by now we know that the answer to that question is yes. You should be both of these things. The things that you love should be the things that inspire your imagination and your thought process. The things that you think about should hopefully be things that also inspire your passion. Passion and intellect should be the exact same thing, because if they're not, you're not going to do anything well in life. And I mean that. You're not going to do anything well in life. The things that excite your thinking should be the things that excite your thinking. It's built into the sentence. It's a passion thing, man. And oftentimes we say things like, follow your passions, and then we all kind of nod like, yeah, you should follow your passions. I don't know that that's necessarily the best case either. But then also when we say things, you got to think with your head, not with your heart. That's probably not the best case either. The things that appeal to in your mind are oftentimes going to be the things that make you feel the deepest things. There are superficial pleasures in life, of course. Popcorn, that's a superficial pleasure. You enjoy eating it, of course. But I hope if the answer to this question is no, I hope the answer to this question instead would be not yet. But is there anything in your life or anybody in your life who just sparks your imagination, gets you thinking about things that you have never thought about before? Gets you thinking in ways that you've never thought about before? If so, hang on to those people in your life, because those are the people who are going to elevate you above your base levels. Anybody can enjoy popcorn. Anybody can sit around and laugh about silly things. But the people in your life who can really engage you in deep thought, and I don't just mean deep thought that blows you away, but deep thought that actually excites you and interests you in life, those people are rare, especially if they can speak to you at a level. Because they're brilliant people, the universities are full of them. But the people who can speak to you and get you engaged in ideas and make you feel like you're part of it, those people are pretty rare. And hopefully, you will become one of those people yourself in your life to other people. Bless you. A person who inspires others. And I don't just mean inspires them in this motivational sense, but like just being around people like that sometimes. This is probably one of the hardest quotes for me to talk about, because I can see myself sitting in the middle of this line right here. In other words, this is about me. And that's what makes this one so hard for me to talk about, because to unpack it and explain it all is difficult. All the other quotes, again, if I did my job well, you guys don't know what I agree with and what I don't agree with. And if you think that you do, then you might be right or you might be wrong. But hopefully there's been nothing that I've said that's given it away. There was a quote that we did last week or week before last in second period. And there's a student in the class who talks to me before class, after class, We were here on Saturday school, after Saturday school, at like 3 o'clock talking. And this person actually knows me on a personal level. He heard me give a talk in class that he knew I disagreed with every single word. And it not just disagreed with, but like vehemently. I completely disagreed with what was being said. And yet afterwards, he's like, that was so weird. I couldn't tell the difference between that and any other talk you've given in terms of how you presented it. So those are easy to do because I can tell you these are what people are saying. But this one's hard for me because I see myself sitting right there in the middle of all of this. Because there are things that this dichotomy between thinking and feeling just simply doesn't exist for me. And people say like, oh, Scallon, you should think with your head, not your heart. Bullshit. I should think with the totality, and I should act and I should feel with the totality of what I am as a human being. And that's what I am as a human being. I'm a thinking thing. I'm a feeling thing. And this is why you're saying something earlier about, Jeremiah, you're saying something earlier about letting your emotions control you. Your emotions shouldn't control you. Neither should your thinking. You should use your emotions and your intellect as a way of guiding yourself. Use your emotions to figure out what's important to you. Because the things that are most important to you are typically not going to be things that make sense. Like we talked before about like if you love a person, think about why it is that you would love a person. Some of you, if you're in love with someone right now, you think about what is it? Oh, they're nice. Lots of people are nice. Oh, they're funny. Lots of people are funny. Oh, they're good looking. Lots of people are good looking. Why this person? And we can't even put our finger on it most of the time. In fact, if I were to ask you what is good looking about a person, most of us couldn't put our fingers on it because it's happening at an unconscious level. We've talked a little bit before about symmetry. If I've asked you before about the person's nice, what occurs to us most about their niceness is something that happens at an unconscious level. We don't even know why we love the people that we love. We try to explain it in retrospect. We just kind of feel like, I'm in love. Now let me try to explain why I'm in love with this person. But most of the most important things in your life are going to be guided by the things that you feel. If you have a passion for justice, understand the word passion is built into that sentence. The desire for justice, the word desire is built into the sentence. Anything that we talk about that's meaningful to us just by nature has to have these emotional verbs built into them, these emotional adjectives built into them. Otherwise, who cares? Oh shit, the word care implies an emotion. Everything that's meaningful has an emotion built into it. So does that mean that we should pursue it? No, not necessarily. Hatred is an emotion too. So how do you know which of these things you should pursue? Enter the intellect. Your passions and your emotions tell you the things that you want. Your intellect tells you how to get them and if they're worth pursuing in the first place. Not everything that you feel is worth pursuing, but not everything that you think should shut down the things that you feel. Your feelings are important, your emotions are important, but use your intellect to guide them and to prune them like you would a tree so they shape the kind of person that you want to be. Don't miss the fact that the word want, again, is built in with the idea of emotion. A want is an emotion. A desire is an emotion. So as soon as you can get rid of this dichotomy, because that's what you're doing when you draw this line down the middle and say thinking and feeling, you're now saying this part of me and that part of me, rather than me. Which part of a person do you love, if not the whole thing? What part of an idea do you like, if not the whole thing? Are there aspects of it that you don't like? Yes. Like, again, is an emotion. And how do you then do you continue liking that person anyway? You use the intellect to prune away those things. Not that they don't matter, but that you're able to process it and say they're only part of the whole. But you have to take life as a whole, take people as a whole, take ideas as a whole. The perfect is the enemy of the good. If you're always pursuing perfection, you're gonna throw the good away because it's not perfect, and you're gonna lose a lot of opportunities for greatness. This separation between thinking and feeling, intellect and passion, he says, has really disappeared. I don't know if any of you are like this. Like you can fall, like you can feel your thoughts, like you can have such a deep feeling for a person or an idea or a hope that it actually physically affects you. I meant it when I said it. I meant it when I said it to you guys. I have studied, and in short, I've discovered some divinity in things, one of which you might remember, how the stomach is commanded by the soul to be sour or pleased, that you can be affected physically by the thoughts and emotions that you have, and how lucid dreams warn the subconscious, and how suffering can seem like the only real thing. How does it seem like it? Because you feel it, but how do you know it's only a seeming and not a real thing? Because your intellect is able to apprehend it and guide you through it. I have studied, and in short, I have discovered those divinity in those things. Yeah.
I just had a question.
Sure.
So, do you think you were right about the poll when we were discussing as a class? Like, did you agree with our ideas?
That the teachers suck?
No, like the beginning,
Yeah.
like, besides this.
Yeah, I do. I think it's very difficult to grapple with. And again, as you read Nietzsche, I mean, I've been grappling with Nietzsche since 7th grade. I've told you that. That's when I started reading him. I started reading Nietzsche in 7th grade. It's difficult. He's tough. But it's rewarding. I could give into the frustration. Forget it. But then the intellect tells me, but there's something there. And then the emotion says, I want to know what it is. Why? Because the man wrote it in his own blood. That's why. It doesn't mean he's right, but it means that it meant something to him. And if it meant that much, it's like, why did I play baseball? I played baseball a lot. I enjoyed it, sure, but why? Because my mom once took the time to teach me how to play it. It meant a lot to her. So I looked into it because it meant a lot to her. Turns out it meant a lot to me. But it took the intellect to do that. Master both of these things, man. Master your intellect, because your intellect can get in your head also. Don't any of you guys overthink things? The intellect can do that to you also. You ever overfeel things? Any of you guys, that person, as soon as someone like smiles at you, all of a sudden you fall in love and go home and write bad poetry about them? That's your feeling overwhelming you. Don't let either of things master you. Master yourself. That's the hardest thing in the world to master is yourself. But if you can master yourself, you can master anything. And if this idea can make you ill, then you really internalize the idea, man. Because the only things worth thinking about are those kinds of things. And haven't you noticed that the most significant things to us in life are the things that we can't touch, taste, smell, hear? But you notice I'm leaving the word feel out of it. Kinesthetically, you can't feel a lot of things like love, hates, passions. But you can feel it emotionally. If I were to ask you how is it you can feel it, it is damn near impossible to explain. Because our idea of feeling is so connected to our physicality. Because you've neglected half of your nature. You forget about the spiritual nature you have also. Whether you're religious or not, there's something that's deeper going on inside of you that's not just physical. There's something mind there. There's something psyche there. There's something in danger of being fired by the school district, I'll say something spiritual. There's something else to you. And I promise you that there are greater things on heaven and earth than you dream of in your philosophies, as Hamlet said. So to be a person like that who thinks without these dichotomies means to be a whole person. You haven't separated yourself out. You haven't put yourself at war against yourself, your emotions and your intellect. Instead, you've made them allies. And let's face it, we all need more allies in life, especially when you go into this world. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques?
Where did you get that last part, an idea can make you ill?
Yeah. That goes back to the idea of the stomach is commanded by the soul to be sour or pleased. You can, like an idea can just make you, you can think of empathy. Have you ever, let's think. Have you ever done something so that it makes you sick? When I was a little boy, I remember this. My dad got mad at me. My dad worked his ass off, dude. My faceless and fatigued father stood out ahead of me. He really did, man. And I remember being upset with him, and I can't remember, I'm sure it's something I did. And he sent me to bed with no dinner. Which was funny, because we didn't always have dinner. But anyway, he sent me to bed without dinner. And I got a crayon. And I remember drawing on the footboard of my bed a fat, ugly stink. I even drew like little lines making him stink coming off of it. I still remember the drawing, dude. I had to have been like 5 or so. And I was saying, look, told my brother, I drew Dad. He's all fat and ugly and he's smelly. Can you imagine being my dad, working your ass off at McDonald's, 50 hours a week, commuting an hour each way, just to provide for this little asshole who's drawing ugly pictures of you on a bedpost? And my mom got home, and then my mom did the thing she probably shouldn't have done. She gave me dinner. 35 years ago, I still feel bad about that. It bothers me in my stomach to think about having done that. Oh, but you were only 5. You didn't know any better. Oh, maybe I must have known, right? Because I did draw the picture. I knew I was trying to upset him. Because what that tells me is not just, oh, you were 5. What that tells me is that there's a seed of something inside of me at that young age where I can be horribly cruel towards people. And I've talked before about the dragons that we fight in the first semester, remember? We cross the moat, wear the armor that actually makes things worse, and that there's a dragon on the other side in that castle that you have to fight. And I encouraged you back then, and I also encourage you the first week of this new semester to continue thinking about that. What are the dragons in your life that you're fighting? What is it the thing that you're fighting for? What's the armor that you're putting on that makes things worse? My dragon is arrogance. I am way smarter than I pretend to be. I'm fucking brilliant. What's funny is that I have a friend. I had a friend who used to always say, "You're a genius." I say, "Yeah, literally, based on IQ, I am." And she'd always say, "You sound like an asshole when you say that." I said, "I know, and that's why I make fun of myself so much." Because you have to. Because what's the alternative? To be a complete prick who goes his entire life drawing pictures of people, making fun of them? Who wants to be around that person? How fulfilled can you be being like that? Besides which, moreover, more than anything, the idea that you have the ability to make people feel terrible about themselves can make you sick. It can bother you in your stomach because you can know how other people feel. If any of you have that, if any of you are you've heard the word empaths before, to be an empath? If any of you can be an empath and feel what other people feel, you can walk past people on the street and you can feel the suffering coming off of people sometimes, if you know what that's like. You can feel the joy coming off of people also. You feel the hopelessness sometimes. And all of these emotions are really just ideas because you don't know. But it's your idea about this person that can make you sick because you notice something about them at an unconscious level. I don't know if any of you guys have friends who are melancholy or depressed. And it turns out you're melancholy and depressed and you guys finally talk about it. You guys realize that you are the exact same way. How do you know? Because you recognize your own, that's why. Why do we gravitate towards people like us? Because you recognize your own. I wonder how many of you walk down the street and you feel that sadness or that hopelessness or that joy and that excitement off of people. And you wonder, how did I just feel that? Why did I just feel that? You might get a sense about somebody and then that's your feeling telling you, but your intellect is telling you, oh, you can't know that about a person. And so you stop yourself from feeling. Your intellect stops you from feeling in that case. How is it you can know those things about them? Because you recognize your own. And it's your intellect that's arresting that and talking you out of it. Don't let your mind talk you out of things. With an asterisk. It should in some cases. If your sentence ends with, I'm gonna do it, maybe your mind should talk you out of it, whatever that thing is. I'm gonna jump off this bridge. Don't do it. I'm gonna do it. Don't. Probably. But there's a lot of things in your life that your intellect talks you out of that your emotions don't. Pursue those things, man. How do you know? What are the things that you regret in life? The things that you thought about and didn't do? The things that your mind stopped you from doing? Some cases, your mind can stop you from doing some stupid things. Absolutely, 100%. You ever had those intrusive thoughts? I feel like I could jump off this bridge right now, I'd be fine. I bet I could run in front of this truck right now and take it. I'm sorry, bad example. I should always consider the audience. No. At those cases, your mind should stop you from doing it. Yeah. I have a friend that I had a friend anyway, not anymore. They used to joke like this all the time where I'd say, you know, I'm going to do something, whatever I was going to do. And she'd be like, don't do it. Okay. So, you know, John, Steve, and Joseph, whoa, hey, so I'm serious. Don't do it. Like, okay, fine. But I'm going to do it. And she'd shake her head. It's probably why we're not friends anymore. Yeah.
Can you control your intellect?
Yeah. Your intellect has to, that's the definition of an intellectual. It's a mind that watches itself. You don't need somebody to come along and check your mind for you. It's helpful to have people who can do that. But it's a mind that's able to sit there and say, all right, let me assess this objectively as best as I possibly can. Yeah, your intellect has to do that. But your emotions also have to prod your intellect a little bit too. Because the things that you think of as intellectual, like I said, like justice, that's an emotional desire. You know, happiness, joy, fulfillment, these are all emotional things. You can't think your way into them, but your thinking can guide you into them. But you got to check your thinking also. Because your thinking can talk you out of things also. That's that, we call it the paralysis of analysis. I'm going to, forget it. There will be time. There will be time. That's proof rock. It's the paralysis of analysis. Overthinking everything. Others. What's that? Yeah, it's Prince Hamlet. Overthinking everything. Happy Tuesday. Dope. Maybe I'll get it right next period. That was trash. I'll get it right next period. I'll be better when I'm older.